So yesterday, in the news, the Senate announced, the Democratic-controlled Senate announced that the Build Back Better Act will be shelved indefinitely, quote, to focus on voting rights. So yesterday, I read the statement from Cori Bush, where she very explicitly laid out that the idea that you need to do one or the other is fairy tale nonsense. You can pass both of them immediately at the same time if you wanted to, but they don't want to. The Democratic-controlled Senate doesn't want to. They don't give a fuck about your voting rights. They don't give a fuck about the child tax credit. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a flying fuck. And Pramila Jayapal went on a cringe tour. That's right. She went on a cringe tour about this. And I've got multiple pieces of evidence that talk about this cringe tour. And I want to talk about that in this segment here. So first, we've got this from 2 days ago. This clip here from the Medhi Hasan show on MSNBC, I think it is. I don't know. And he interviewed Pramila Jayapal and asked some very interesting questions. I want to get into this. And then we will get into the statement that they released last night.
Do you feel you got played by Joe Manchin?
No and no. We are, for the weeks and the days going up to the vote in the House, everybody, every day, if I had counted, if I got a penny for every time somebody said to me, this is not going to happen. You all have given up everything. We got it done in the House. Now, I am in the same place.
Okay, so the question, do you feel like you got played by Joe Manchin? Joe Manchin is a senator. And then Pramila Jayapal's answer, we got it done in the House. We got it done in the House. And? Okay, so you got it done in the House, and it's law now, right? No, wrong. It's not law, because you got it done in the House, and then it's going to die in the Senate. So it doesn't...
In saying that we are getting grenades rolled at us all the time. We have to pick them up, we have to put the pin back in, and we have to continue to focus on the fact that this is going to be rocky. We can't hang our commitments and our hopes on the words of one senator or two senators.
So again, for those of you that need the primer, Joe Manchin wanted, theoretically, the infrastructure bill to be passed, right? So the Progressive Caucus said they would vote no on the infrastructure bill unless the Senate already had passed the social spending bill and the infrastructure bill, right? This is an important piece of information here. So what that would mean is the Senate would pass them, right? Then they would go to the House, and the House would pass them, and then they would go to the president's desk. Typically, what happens is the House will pass something, and then the Senate will water it down and then pass it, and then the House will repass the watered-down version. That's typically what happens, right? But the whole thing for several months, all of summer and all of autumn, was it's a two-track. Where the Senate passes them first because we know Joe Manchin is a scumbag, right? And so what that did is it put this in Joe Manchin's hand. Is Joe Manchin going to downvote the infrastructure package? All right, let him do that. Let him be the person I'm making a video about right now. But instead, what happened was Pramila Jayapal said, we got this, bro. We got this. We're going to pass the infrastructure bill without the social bill. And then, question mark. That's okay. So we're gonna pass we're gonna completely go back on what we've been saying for about 4, 5, 6 months. We're gonna do the exact opposite, and it's gonna work out, I promise. And then here we are. It didn't work out, and this is how she has to respond to it.
Have to continue to work to get it done, and the vast majority of it is done. And so I was on the phone with Senator Schumer today, with the White House. And I believe we will still get it done. It's going to be rocky, and we just have to continue to leave no space in the commitment to getting it done. And listen, the president's word is on the line here, and I do still believe that he is going.
The president's word is on the line for things like legalizing marijuana. Hasn't happened. Student loan forgiveness hasn't happened. Right? Pandemic response hasn't happened. Joe Biden his word has been on the line for many things that haven't happened. Right? I don't know. Here's the thing. Unless they've got a secret bit of information that no one is releasing to the public, None of this makes any sense. Like, if they've got, like, some secret, like, memo from Joe Manchin that says, I'm totally gonna vote for this, bro, just, give me until February, right? And then it's got, like, he's, like, did the thing like a Naruto and then plants it with his blood on the fucking thing, and then, like, there's, like, a jutsu or something sealed to him, and he has to... That's not gonna happen. That doesn't exist, right? So anyone that sees this is gonna go... What the fuck's going on? Now, again, am I saying that it's Pramila Jayapal's fault that this isn't happening? No. I'm saying the entire structure of the U.S. government is garbage. I'm saying the president is garbage. I'm saying Joe Manchin is garbage. I'm saying Chuck Schumer is garbage. The Republican Party is garbage. It's garbage. All of them are garbage, right? And the only people that I even took remotely seriously when it comes to the U.S. government was the Progressive Caucus. And they said they would downvote it unless it was 2 tracks. That's what they said. And then they didn't do that, and now here we are. The social spending bill's probably not going to happen. If it ends up happening, all right, I will cover that at that point, right? But again, this idea that she is just... Why doesn't she just talk about Joe Manchin being a corrupt coal baron? He's literally heavily invested in coal companies, and he's trying to strike down a climate proposal. Why doesn't she talk about that? Why doesn't she talk about Joe Manchin's family being embroiled in an EpiPen scandal where millions of Americans are being price gouged and probably a good chunk of them are dying because they can't afford EpiPens? Catherine, Republican Joe Manchin stands in the way. Media says progressives are the problem. I'm not saying progressives are the problem. I'm saying progressives need to be stronger and they need to stop falling for bullshit. It's okay, right, to criticize people in good faith. That's fine to criticize people in good faith. If you think that I shouldn't ever possibly ever criticize a progressive, I'm sorry, I disagree. Like, if you think that somehow I'm caping for Joe Manchin when I made... probably fucking dozens of videos about Joe Manchin, how garbage he is. I don't know what to tell you. But again, these interviews, these are not inspiring confidence in the American people. People that I know that don't follow politics talk to me and they go like, what's going on with the child tax credit? And what am I supposed to tell them? Right? The problem is every structure here is weak and garbage. Right, and now, am I saying Pramila Jayapal is a terrible person on a personal level? No. But she's not doing that great of a job when it comes to being the Progressive Caucus chair. If 6 members of the Progressive Caucus chair felt comfortable enough, right, to vote against the infrastructure package because of the violation of trust that Joe Biden and Joe Manchin provided, why didn't the rest of the Congressional Progressive Caucus have that solidarity? Everyone knew from the jump, Manchin and Sinema are garbage. They're scumbags, and they shouldn't even be in the Senate at all. Everyone knew that from the jump, right? And the only leverage that they had was to make Joe Manchin the bad guy by having him vote down the infrastructure package. That was the only leverage they had, and they decided to get rid of it. So, I disagree, and it's fine. We can disagree on this. That's okay to disagree on this. If you think the progressives did everything that they could or whatever, that's fine. Right? But personally, I think it's okay to criticize them when they do things that are wrong. That's my opinion, but let's keep going.
To do what he told me and what he told our caucus and what he told the country he would do. Had we not done what we had done, though...
And if he doesn't, Congresswoman?
What was that?
And if he doesn't?
No, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. It will hurt everybody.
Well, just to be clear, you're going to pass Build Back Better by December the 31st.
We are going to pass Build Back Better. I hope it is by December.
So again, the Build Back Better Act, right, is the signature piece of Joe Biden's legislation that he's been promoting since like April, I think. The idea that you trust Joe Biden's word, the idea that you would trust Joe Manchin's word, that to me is my problem. I have known how shitty Joe Biden and Manchin are since I got into politics. It's pretty obvious that these motherfuckers are terrible. It's a pretty big duh that they're really garbage. Right? So, if the leader of the Progressive Caucus had no idea, just had no idea that Joe Manchin's a bad person, that's weird. And then again, okay, so make Joe Manchin the bad guy. Instead, it's, oh, we're gonna work with him. Oh, he told us, and make him the bad guy. Shit on Joe Manchin. This is my thing. If I were in this position, instead of saying, "Oh, Joe Manchin promised me and he pinky swore under the Christmas tree or whatever," and then he said, "Don't worry, I got this. I'm making fun television, and don't worry, it's gonna get done," right, or whatever. Instead of doing that, I would say, "Yo, Joe Manchin, why was your daughter price gouging people over EpiPens? Yo, Joe Manchin, why are you heavily invested in coal companies and you're voting down climate proposals? Yo, Joe Manchin, why do you really care so much that rich people are getting taxed less? What's going on?" I would do that on national television every day. That's what I would do. But again, I'm not in that position. And that's what I want Pramila Jayapal to do, and she's not doing it. AOC has been doing it. Not as much as I would like, right? Rashida Tlaib's been doing it a little bit. Cori Bush has been doing that. So why isn't the leader of the caucus doing that? That's my problem.
December 31st, I think it will be. But we are going to get it done, and we are going to get it done very, very quickly. Almost everything is done, thanks to the Progressive Caucus holding the line.
There's no evidence that Joe Manchin is going to vote for it. We just have reporting today that says that he spoke to Joe Biden on the phone, and they are far apart. Where is your optimism coming from? Because a lot of people are looking and saying, Joe Manchin played all of you.
So again, this is all, if Pramila Jayapal has like a secret contract, right, or something, and there's information that is not public, then okay, all of this will be justified, right? Like, again, if she comes out on January 15th and said, we didn't get it done by the end of the year, but here it is, and then it's passed, and then and the child tax credit resumes and all that, all right, I'm good. But right now, with all the information that we have in the public, it looks like it's not going to go so well. And so that's my problem, right? Is she should just say that there's like a secret deal that they made. That's what she should say. And again, in this instance, the squad, right? The 6 members, Cori Bush, Ayanna Pressley, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, AOC, and I'm probably forgetting one, Jamal Bowman, right? They actually did the right thing, in my opinion. So, I don't know why there's that desynchronization. It makes things look stupid.
Well, I think, if you want to give him that credit now, you certainly can, but I don't know why you would. It hasn't been done. It's not finished, and we're going to get it done. And I think that people react to reporting. There's reporting all the time, and we know that Senator Manchin...
So again, she said, and all of them said, the same thing in September. Remember the original September 28th or 9th deadline or something that they were going to do? Remember that? They've been saying this for months and months and months. And that's why I just don't believe, unless there's like a secret, 6th-dimensional chess move and they can't make it public. And if that happens, I am fine to retract my criticism because I adapt my opinions based on new information, right? But unless that happens, it's not looking so good.
Has not been the #1 supporter of the Build Back Better Act, but he made a commitment to the president. The president made a commitment to us, and I believe we're going to get it done. So I think that there's, it's hard because we get this reporting all the time. Things go up and down in a negotiation. I feel like I'm in deja vu because I had to say this over and over again.
And that's the problem. There's never any new information ever. And then don't even get me started on the fact that the Build Back Better Act was originally going to be $3.5 trillion. Don't get me started on that. And the one that we're even dealing with isn't even that great. It's like a half corporate handout bill and half like bare minimum, but not even really that bill. 1.75. Don't even get me started on the fact that they gutted it by at least half. Don't even fucking. That's a whole different conversation that I think is problematic on all sides as well. But again, yes, this is deja vu. If you came out here and gave us new information. Like, yeah, I was talking to Joe Manchin at the fucking Senate Christmas party, and, he had one too many fucking old fashions, and fucking, he told me, he's just kind of trolling for some press, and he just wants to have a little fun before he retires and goes to live on his yacht or something, right? Give us some new information. That's all I'm asking, is just like one one grain of new information.
When people told us that we weren't going to get it through the House, and we got it through the House, and we got it through the House with every single, all except one Democrat voting for it, which, let me tell you, Medhi, would not have happened had we not crafted the deal that we crafted, had the Progressive Caucus not been as strong as we were. So give us...
I don't think anyone's questioning your achievements in the House. We're talking about the Senate, where you don't control Joe Manchin. That's the problem. Joe Biden doesn't control Joe Manchin. And the leverage that you had, your critics would argue, was lost when you voted for Biff. I just wonder, do you regret voting for the Biff deal now in hindsight, given it's now months later and Joe Manchin is nowhere closer to signing off on $1.75 trillion?
No, I don't regret it, because I think our leverage was at the maximum point. And had we not done that, I think we would have actually lost even more on Build Back Better. I think we would have lost votes on it. I think it would have made it very difficult to ever pass it. So I think what you have to do in these moments is...
So again, it's great that they passed the Build Back Better Act in the House. Now, again, it should be the $3.5 trillion one, but okay, that's a whole different conversation. But passing something in the House does not mean anything unless it becomes law. It's just virtue signaling. And again, when Trump was president and they were passing all these voting rights laws, right, and all that, and they were doing all that stuff, and that the Equality Act and all that, that was virtue signaling, and I liked it. Pass everything you can in the House, right, and then go from there when Democrats pick up the Senate. Now, again, everyone knew Joe Manchin is a liar. Everyone knew he's a bad faith actor. If I know this, right, I've never met Joe Manchin in my life, and I know he's a bad faith actor. You would think that people who have talked to him on the phone, you'd think that people who have met him in person and see what he says behind the scenes, you'd think that that would be crystal clear for them.
You have to try and go for maximum leverage. And I think that's exactly what the Progressive Caucus did. And I believe that we're going to get it passed. Now, is it going to be every single day Joe Manchin saying something else that somebody hangs their hat on and says, this means you're not going to get it done? Unfortunately, yes, that's who Senator Manchin is. I mean, he has never made a secret of the fact that he doesn't, I think he is not the person who crafted this bill. It's not his number one priority, but he made a commitment to the president. And I believe we have to get it done, and we will get it done.
He will change his mind, you say. I hope we can get you back on the show when he does and when that bill passes. It's a huge bill. I've made my views very clear about what an important bill it is on this show many times.
So anyway, then they released this statement last night. Delaying Build Back Better until 2022 will have immediate consequences. The House passed a bill agreed to by nearly 50 senators. Let me just read the statement. Representative Pramila Jayapal, chair of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, issued the following blah, blah, blah. Delaying the passage of the Build Back Better Act until 2022 would have immediate and devastating consequences. It would place the monthly expanded child tax credit at risk, plunging millions into poverty, correct. It would postpone the Affordable Care Act subsidies and Medicaid coverage gaps slated to provide 2.9, aka 3 million Americans access to the care beginning next year, correct. It would delay inflation-busting investments. I feel like they need to say that. Inflation doesn't really exist, but, whatever. Investments to lower costs for families at the same time they need it, or at the time they need it most. It would ensure the biggest corporations continue to get away with not paying their fair share. This is all correct. And it would further push off desperately needed action on lowering drug prices, correct. Expanding access to child and home care, correct. Fighting the climate crisis. Let's be honest, this bill is not fighting the climate crisis. It's not happening. And investing in housing, that's correct at least. Progressives have worked diligently with the White House and Senate over the better part of this year to set up for this moment. This version of Build Back Better we passed out of the House was agreed to by nearly every senator caucusing with the Democrats. Nearly. That's the problem. Nearly. And we sent it to the upper chamber based on the president's promise that he could deliver the 50 senators needed to make it law. We trust the president to follow through on that promise. I don't know why anyone would trust Biden to do anything. That's my problem here. Why would they trust Biden? Now, if they went on TV and in this press conference said Joe Manchin's a piece of fucking shit, right? He's a coal baron scumbag cocksucker, and look at this fucking shit. Look at his investments. Look how he's making money off of this. Look how he's raising money from being in the headlines every day. And then what a scumbag he is. Look at you. You aren't going to be able to feed your kid in January because of this coal baron yacht fucking shit fucking motherfucker. That's what they should be saying. Maybe, minus the swearing. But, fuck it. Include the swearing. We stand ready to work through the holidays and come back into the session as soon as the Senate returns the bill to the House and ensures it becomes law. Based on the conversation in our membership meeting today, this is the clear consensus of the Progressive Caucus. I also conveyed this to the president in a phone call. The American people sent us the Congress to deliver. More than 81 million people voted for the president's agenda, 85% of which is contained in this bill. I disagree with that. The House did our work, and now it's time for the Senate to do theirs. They must stay in session until Build Back Better is passed. Now, again, I agree with this. This is a good statement. But again, is Joe Manchin going to pay any consequences? Joe Manchin is the kind of person that doesn't care. Joe Biden is the kind of person that doesn't care. They are already in their seats. They don't give a shit. They don't give a fuck. Joe Biden could legalize weed immediately. He could have done it on day one. He still hasn't done so. Joe Biden said he would relieve up to $10,000 of student loan debt. He can do that whenever he wants. He still hasn't done it. And that's my problem, right? Is I feel like the Progressive Caucus is not doing everything that they can. I feel like the Progressive Caucus are in this position where they are the only human beings in the U.S. government. The rest of them are robots, drones, capitalist drones. They will only and always do everything they can to support capitalism, support their donors, and support corruption. And the Congressional Progressive Caucus is supposed to be the light in that tunnel. And I feel like they are not doing everything that they can on this. Now, again, Joe Manchin is the bad guy, but this isn't new information. Joe Manchin being the bad guy is not like, oh, breaking news. Holy shit. Imagine like a situation where Bernie Sanders was like Joe Manchin was agreeing with it and Bernie was like, nope, not gonna happen. Then that would be weird. No one would see that coming. But with Joe Manchin, we all saw this coming. Everyone knew that this would happen. When Joe Biden won in the primary, everyone who pays attention to politics knew he would be a scumbag loser and not do what needs to be done. And that's what's happening here. So I apologize if people are upset that I'm criticizing progressives, but I mean, I don't live in this world where progressives are somehow above criticism all the time. So I apologize if people are offended by that. You're allowed to criticize people in good faith. You're allowed to criticize people because you want them to do better. That's allowed. That's encouraged. And if you disagree, then that's fine. But we just have a disagreement there. Joe Manchin's the bad guy. Yes. And if the only people in Congress that are human beings don't understand that Joe Manchin's the bad guy, that's a problem. That's a problem. And I'm not saying this because I think that people should give up and that they should just like smoke weed all day and watch fucking YouTube all day. I'm saying this because people need to realize who the problematic people are. People need to realize how stupid our form of government is, and people need to go out there and change it. Organize. Work with your community. The midterms are coming up. Volunteer on a fucking midterm campaign. That's what I'm going to do. Whoever's running in my district, wherever I'm at, I'm going to volunteer for that shit. Because the current government that we have is not a government that's going to do anything for us. So, that's my opinion. Hounding on progressives is damaging. I disagree. I also, if my YouTube show, if Above It All is the make or break here, like, that the Congressional Progressive Caucus would otherwise they would slam dunk this, but fuck, Andrea made a slightly constructively critical video about us, and now we can't do it. If my video is going to be the make or break, then Lord have mercy, I need to really rethink my my strategies here, because I've got a lot more power than I otherwise thought I did. And again, I have been supportive of the progressives up until this point. Up until yesterday, really. I'm sowing doubt on the only people who can fix anything. I disagree. I don't see how that's happening. Joe Manchin has been the bad guy since day one. He's been the bad guy since day one. I have never, ever said that he's not the bad guy. I have never said that Pramila Jayapal is a bad person. I'm just saying I'm losing faith in her leadership. That's it. Catherine, come on now. This is an extreme overreaction. I don't necessarily even think Jayapal should be disowned and fired. I think that she needs to either tell us why this is going to work or change the strategy. Because again, if she has like a secret piece of information that can ensure the American public that this is going to happen, why wouldn't she give it up? And if she does have that information come out later, right? Like, let's say it gets passed on like January fucking 36th or whatever, right? And then she comes out and says like, yeah, I had this piece of info and whatever. I'm going to reshape my opinion. But the idea that we can't criticize progressives, I'm sorry. And the idea that I'm hounding on progressives when most of this video is about how bad Joe Manchin is, I mean, that's just, it's fantasy world. If you think that I'm hounding on progressives and that I'm somehow trying to, like, obfuscate the real enemy, that being Joe Manchin and Joe Biden, you're living in a fantasy world, Catherine. I don't know what to tell you. That's just fantastical thinking. In my opinion, you're allowed to criticize politicians. Oh no, just hounding on folks like me that get blazed all day and watch YouTube. That is my crime. Matt, come on now. You know the problem here is you don't smoke enough weed and you don't watch enough above it all. We all know that that's the problem. And I am not you are underreacting, absolutely. But again, I just want to say, like, if somehow, for whatever reason, me criticizing Pramila Jayapal makes you dislike my YouTube show, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. There has not been a single time ever at all where I have ever obfuscated Joe Manchin and Joe Biden as the real enemy at all. You can watch my coverage of the Build Back Better shenanigans from day one. My opinion has been the same, right? They said originally, Jayapal and the Congressional Progressive Caucus said they would vote down the infrastructure bill if it wasn't to track with the social bill from the Senate. They did not do that. And they have yet to explain why they went back on that promise. They have yet to explain that. And again, if it comes out later on that they, like, then, like, you know, let's say it gets passed and then they give us the details and why they voted, and then that's fine. I'm fine with that. And I'll change my opinion on it and I'll say maybe that was for the best, whatever, right? But until that point, we do not have that information. The American public does not have that information yet, and therefore we are acting on the information that is public. She is clearly under the operating, principle that there is something that is going to change Joe Manchin's mind. And I hope that happens. I personally don't think that that's going to happen. There is nothing publicly available that presents to me that is the reality that we're going to live in. At all. I haven't seen any evidence of that. But again, if they come out, if it gets passed and they come out and say, we didn't make this detail public because we thought it would blow up the negotiations or whatever, then that's fine. But we'll have to wait and see how this goes. Because again, if Republicans really do steamroll in 2022, which I think is more than likely going to happen, if that really does happen, then nothing is going to be possible. And if the argument is that Joe Manchin is a Republican and therefore nothing is possible now, then why is Pramila Jayapal telling us that it is possible that Joe Manchin will vote yes? If Joe Manchin is such a bad guy that nothing would ever get past him, why is Jayapal telling us that that's not the case? So there's someone here is not living in the real world. If it's me, and then more information comes out, all right. But to me right now, and to most people that I've spoken to, it looks like the Progressive Caucus got steamrolled. That's what it looks like. And yes, they got steamrolled by a supervillain. Joe Manchin is a literal comic book supervillain. Like that image of him standing on the yacht, drinking his little whatever the fuck with those people protesting on the boats. That is supervillain shit. Joe Manchin is historically, and again, there's always one of these motherfuckers, Lieberman, etc. There's always one of these motherfuckers that's going to be the motherfucker that gets in the way of everything. And the only way to solve that is to elect more progressives. And to have more fierce progressives in the House and the Senate and in the presidency. That's the only way to fix that. And that's what I advocate for. So if the problem is that Joe Manchin isn't going to budge no matter what, then I don't know why Jayapal is telling us that that's going to change. My opinion is, vote for Democrats in the Senate so that Joe Manchin isn't the rotating villain, and then we'll see if anyone else steps up to the plate, which, let's be honest, someone probably will. But that, again, I've got a lot of problems with how this is happening. And I have no problem whatsoever in criticizing them. Why are all these people named Joe, by the way? Joe Biden, Joe Lieberman, Joe Manchin. What the fuck is with Joe? I absolutely adore Cori Bush. I think she's the best member of Congress that we have. If I were to have like a power ranking list, Cori Bush number 1. Anyway, folks, that's the show for today. I apologize if people got offended by my hot, spicy, fiery takes. But I personally think it's an overreaction. And I got to get ready to go get my booster shot, so... Because I voted in Maryland, when I lived in Maryland, I'm on all these, like, databases for, like, vaccinations in Maryland, and I keep texting them, please shut the fuck up and stop texting me. But every single day, I'm getting, like, Maryland Vaccine Center, like, lists from all these different numbers, and it's like, first of all, I'm getting my booster today. I'm good. Second of all, I don't live there anymore. But you know what I mean? Like, so, but anyway, I'm getting my flu shot as well, so I'm double dipping here. What about Talib? Talib is a good number 2 for sure. But anyway, folks, thank you all for watching.